Put on your seatbelts. We got the keys to the spaceship. It's time to go for a ride. Stay tuned, stay big.
It's this new thing for people, and they're sometimes afraid of new things that they don't understand.
I'm assuming you enjoy rapping with people like this.
I love it. This is exactly why I live life.
Welcome to the BAKERCAST.
Sometimes I feel like I'm channeling energy, and what I produce are the keys to the spaceship.
Aloha, guys. Good to see you out here on the floor, on the streets, doing the grind, getting to witness the function of the whole industry here.
We are the voice of the cannabis community. It's a cannabis revolution right now. We're changing the world that we're living in, and it starts with one bud at a time.
Thank you for joining us. On the next episode of the BakerCast, we have an interview with Josh Young coming up, a grower for Jerome Baker Cannabis in Humboldt County, California. I want to give a shout out to him. We met with him at the Dream Factory during MJBizCon. That's right, 721 South 1st Street in the heart of the Arts District. Stay tuned, stay baked.
Warning. Please keep out of reach of children, and for use by adults 21 years of age and older.
LBS Distribution, re-up in California. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned, stay baked. Check out our past podcast content on JeromeBaker.Shop and try the new Jerome Baker Cannabis today. This is the BakerCast, the official Jerome Baker podcast. That's right, JeromeBaker.Shop. I'm here with Josh Young, Earth Green, Humboldt Master Grower. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing real good.
I wanted to introduce you to the show because you play a big part in what we do here at Jerome Baker with the new Jerome Baker Cannabis, and being that you help grow this cannabis.
I do.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit about how you met Jason Harris.
It's
always an interesting question.
It's funny because we were around the same circles for a really long time.
Okay, sure.
And I knew a couple of his boys or whatever. And we got this one kind of rascally friend, but I went to buy a surfboard one day, and I had a whole bunch of weed I needed to sell. And well, the kid I was buying a surfboard from was like, dude, you gotta just. And then when we met, he was like, oh, you're from Maine. He's like, you know my buddy so-and-so? I'm like, that motherfucker. And he's like, oh yeah, you know him then.
What year was this, Josh?
2011.
Okay, cool. That's cool.
And so we, our kids. Both of our kids were pretty young at that point.
Yeah.
And so the kids kind of been growing up together in Maui for all these years.
Oh, cool. Cool.
So that's kind of been the Chip's family scene.
Like, from everybody that I've heard about, that I've known, just incredible energy. Now, tell me a little bit about some of these genetics that you're growing here for Jerome Baker, some of these flavors.
Okay, so, well, everything I grow is my own shit.
Right.
So, basically, a long time ago, I had a sour on the East Coast that I had since like the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And when I came to Humboldt, I brought that with me. It was a weird era where sour was becoming a big deal. Like, it already been a big deal for me for a lot of years.
100%.
But it became this big deal, and all of a sudden, like, shit just started getting weird. Like, everyone thought that their sour was this.
I was gonna say, do you remember the first time you actually ran into the actual sour diesel? I mean, this was like early.
That's the thing. Like, so one of my buddies from Vermont actually had it, because I was actually, when it first was hitting in NYC in like the late 90s, I was growing this great white shark, and I was actually selling shit in New York City at like $4.50 an ounce up the board.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck that diesel, fuck.
Sure, yeah.
Then I went to prison for a couple years, and when I got out, I didn't have my own weed, obviously, and so I got some diesel from one of my friends. So then I was paying $4.50 an ounce.
Yeah.
And then we got that down to $400, and then finally, so I got out in I guess January, and then by September I bought a new house, and I think I was at the house about 5 days, and my buddy Mr. Gray, he's a big glass blower, brought me the cut. It came from AJ, it didn't come directly from him, But
it was the same family.
Yeah.
The same sour diesel family.
Yeah, that's the real skunkier one.
And how does the relation with that and the Chem family? I noticed that those two families are very well close together as far as the genetics, right?
I would imagine that they're just hybrids of each other's.
Okay.
To me, the sour has way more punch than Chem. You know, head and flavor.
Oh, dude, there's nothing like the original sour diesel.
Yeah. So my buddy showed up, and he was like, the plants were all like kind of beat up and shit.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I guess it's sour, bro. And I looked at it, and the sour has this tiny little curl to the end of the leaf.
Yeah.
This little tiny point that curls. And I knew that my buddy's sour had that, and I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. That's the shit.
That's yeah.
And so that was, like I said, that was probably like the 20th of September. So I think I harvested on December 29th or something. And like I said, I've been in jail for a couple of years. I hadn't had my own weed. I'd been in trouble before that. Like, shit had been kind of fucked. So when I harvested this shit, dude, I got so fucking high because I hadn't had my own weed in so long. I didn't even replant the shit for 45 days.
No way.
I was just getting lit.
What year was this?
2005.
2005. That's incredible. So now take us to, in the time machine, fast forward to where we're at right now.
Well, so we brought the sour to Humboldt.
Yeah.
Drove cross country with it.
The original.
I brought five little babies with me.
Wow. The original sour diesel too.
And we like buried it in the bottom of the fucking U-Haul.
Wow.
Tiger truck. And like I said, I got to Humboldt. The sour was really starting to pick up speed, and like all of a sudden everyone had their sour, their sour.
Yeah.
And I was seeing a lot of this sour from Sonoma. And that was actually the Kim family I know was telling me about that sour.
That's what I'm talking about.
And so I just think that maybe it's like a little diluted version, or maybe
somebody said they found it at a bag seed at a dead show in Boulder.
There's a whole bunch.
There's a couple different stories with that one.
We got some good ones.
Yeah, I bet.
I've definitely traced it all the way down the thing, and yeah, we've went with both sides of the family.
Sure. Well, you know both sides, so you got to hear both sides, which I think is incredible. That's kind of why I asked you that, So you took the original sour up to Humboldt. What are some other cultivars, or
so what I
that you
did
have?
Was I had this one that I was kind of fucking with when I got to Humboldt, because like the sour was, even though it was banging, it was still like you needed to have a customer that wanted sour.
Yeah.
Really, everyone wanted OG.
Okay. Especially where you were in California. Yeah.
But sour, for me, sour was always great because you can always get like full price for it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like I usually get more money for my weed than most people, but if I would bust out some sour and be like, whatever the market is, there it is, just throw it in, dude. It's flying.
Yeah.
And so I started, but like I said, there was all these little sour wars going on. Like, I had this kid working for me. He brought 5 fucking different sours to my property. I'm like, that probably sour we got is what got us here.
He's like, I got this sour, that sour, that. Yeah. You're like, yeah. And that probably causes the issue, because then it kind of gets mixed in with your sours.
It can.
Yeah. If you're not careful.
If you take it lightly.
Yeah.
And so, what I did was I made I did like a hybridized OG.
Yeah.
I had this, it was a Afgui.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Afghan goo, the GOO?
Yeah. The Afgui isn't Afghani, it's just like a really killer one.
Dude, I love that. That shit was nasty. You open the jar up of that and you're like, what is that?
Yeah.
Myrcene, probably like some of the terps, and caraphyllene, limonene, primarily those 3 that are in OG Kush. I've been a terp nerd lately. I've been really just trying to dig in onto terpenes and figure out what terpene profiles are working and how we can benefit from that.
So I took the Afgui. Well, my buddy's actually the one who did it.
Yeah.
He wasn't so stoked when I gave it to everyone.
Sure.
So he took this Afgui and OG.
Yeah.
It was fucking bombing. So I was like, okay, this is a nice thing to work with, because it'll go in a deal. Like you can. bag it up and throw it in a pile in an OG deal, and it'll go through,
100%.
And so
Because it's loud.
yeah, so I started working with that, and then I took it with the sour, and so I took it to the sour 3 times, and then on the third one, I did a little tester where I had maybe like 40 plants or something, and I just threw them under a couple lights in a tent, and I cut all the tops, I bagged them all individually, labeled them, took notes, smoked them for a month or so, and so then like my number 1 pick didn't survive the re-veg, but my number 2 pick, it was the number 9, and that shit was fucking foul, bro.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just like total skunk.
The skunk number 9.
Some skunk ass shit.
Some skunk.
And so, so then I kind of shelved it for a long time because, like I said, you gotta find specific buyers and all this shit for the diesel. But then, when I decided I really needed to get away from just the straight cushes and start pushing some more, some exotic terp situation. And luckily, one of my friends was helping me, and he was really pushing it. And I'd went over to, we had a little cup over in Maui, and my boy that was putting it on was like, come down. And I was like, fuck, I don't have any fucking solid shit with me. And he's like, just bring what you got, bro,
Yeah.
So I bring this shit down, and fucking, I'm sitting at this celebrity judge table, with guys like fucking respect and shit.
Yeah.
My fucking weed sucks, dude.
No.
It wasn't like the worst.
You're like, I gotta do something.
Yeah, I gotta tighten this shit back up.
Got you.
It's like all the competitions I used to do were like, around like 2009, 10, 11 and shit. And so we were getting real strong competition wise, but I was on the run at the time, and there just wasn't much marketing the situation.
Sure. Yeah. You're like, I have no time for that right now. Yeah. That's amazing. And so then you had the skunk number 9, right? Is this what we have right here that we're looking at here?
This is some of this mandarin skunk we got.
Mandarin skunk. That's incredible. He can roll a pretty good joint and podcast at the same time. I'm pretty impressed. Pretty impressed.
I brought one.
Okay.
Josh, tell me a little bit about growing up in Humboldt. That's an incredible experience.
Well, see, the thing about Humboldt is the reason we can grow some of the best herb in the world in Humboldt is because of our climate.
Yeah.
Basically, we have sunshine from May to November, and really what it is that brings out the terps and really makes our Humboldt cannabis stand out a little more is these temperature fluxes.
Okay.
So the fluctuation from a daytime temp to a nighttime temp. So the plant actually likes to sleep.
Oh yeah.
It wants to rest, and so if it gets a nice chilly night, it's like us. It doesn't sleep that good. It's all hot.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it was hot. Yeah.
That's how we can really, for me at least. I've grown cannabis on both coasts. I've grown it in the Midwest. I've grown it in Hawaii, and it definitely grows the best in Northern California.
I absolutely concur. Yeah.
There's got to be other places on the planet, I'm sure of, but as far as the United States goes, that's where we grow it.
Well, that tastes good. That's
what really makes me laugh about all these new pop-up grow things everywhere. It's like, well, dude, the reason they didn't grow weed there is because it's not a good place to grow weed.
Sometimes I feel like I'm channeling energy, and what I produce are the keys to the spaceship.
Stay tuned, stay baked. Hear our past content on JeromeBaker.Shop. Did you try the new Jerome Baker Cannabis? This is the BAKERCAST. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned, stay baked. Hear our past podcast content at JeromeBaker.Shop. Did you try the new Jerome Baker Cannabis yet?
Welcome to the BakerCast.
Warning, please keep out of reach of children. And for use, by adults 21 years of age and older.
We are the voice of the cannabis community. It's a cannabis revolution right now. We're changing the world that we're living in, and it starts with one bud at a time.
Thank you for joining us. Here's my next question. What's the definition for the term exotic when it comes to these plants? I've seen people slapping that term on something and throwing that term loosely around like, this is exotic. Well, what is exotic?
Well, I mean, for me, exotic was like the Tangies and Skittles.
Yeah.
And stuff. Like, really, what I like is I like
Blissful Wizard.
I like a little bit of fruit, a lot of bit of gas.
Okay. So something that's like hard to find, is that exotic? So is it like a far away fruit? I'm trying to wrap my finger around this on the podcast right now so we can help decipher this, because
2021 is just a stepping stone for the future. I want to see people from all over the world coming to Las Vegas.
not a lot of people have real sour diesel.
Sometimes I feel like I'm channeling energy, and what I produce are the keys to the spaceship.
This is the BakerCast, the official Jerome Baker podcast, JeromeBaker.Shop. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned, stay baked. Hear our past content at JeromeBaker.Shop. Make sure to check out the new Jerome Baker Cannabis today.
Welcome to the BakerCast.
Warning, please keep out of reach of children and for use by adults 21 years of age and older.
We are the voice of the cannabis community. It's a cannabis revolution right now. We're changing the world that we're living in, and it starts with one bud at a time.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Adam Stellar. Make sure to stay tuned, stay baked. Hear our past content at JeromeBaker.Shop. Try the new Jerome Baker Cannabis today.
My exotic is that you got to taste the rainbow, you know? You got to have the Skittles or something.
Okay. Absolutely. See, I keep on getting different terms for this, but they're all right. None of them are wrong. It's beautiful, you know? Josh, what's your favorite cultivar that maybe you don't grow that you would like to get your hands on? So maybe there's some other growers that are listening. They're like, yo, Josh, I got you.
Kind of like one of those things, you know, I've been doing it my whole life, and I'm not really looking for
anything specific. You're not looking for anything in particular, but wouldn't it be cool if you stumbled upon something and kind of made something that nobody has, you know, have the next big thing, you know, call your shot like Babe Ruth. I think, like,
well, I mean, I got
you have
it.
the capability.
Yeah. I mean, I got it. This Mandarin stuff.
This is it. We're smoking it right now. All right. He's putting his bat to the sky like Babe Ruth would have, and he's calling his shot right here with the Mandarin skunk.
Yep.
100% Earth Green, grown out of Humboldt, California. Wow. I'm stoned.
I've been working on this, like a tangy that I'm happy with, or like something that has a tangy in it that I
love it.
I think 2014 maybe is when I started fucking with it.
Yeah.
And actually, I had some mishaps with it too.
I think like the G13, the New York City diesel, makes up a tangerine kind of a terpene profile, I read.
But there's also that fake diesel that Soma has that tastes like like grapefruit.
Okay, sure.
There was an Amsterdam diesel.
No, I know which one you're talking about.
It is good weed or whatever, but it was not sour diesel by any means.
No.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I liked the weed,
Yeah.
but I didn't think it was sour.
Sure. It's just how some of these genetics can kind of make up other flavors. I think is kind of unique, and that's kind of where growers like you that know that are going to come in and totally change the game potentially. Where you're just going to be like, I know that plus that might get this, and then it might have to be like a 4-way cross or something at a certain point. Who knows?
Well, that's what this is really.
Oh, cool.
Because really, what this is it's a sour Skittle crossed with a sour tangy, and then I put back to sour again.
Oh my god.
So that was the thing. It got a little lightened up for me. Like it was tasting a little bubbly. Like
Okay.
It tasted great, but it wasn't like every single bud was smashing the head. You know, it was like some of them were lighter.
I wish you could cross this with like a pre-98 Bubba Kush.
The real problem in the industry right now is this plant doesn't fucking care about your money.
No.
It doesn't care how much money you have.
No.
All it wants is love.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. This is the BakerCast, the official Jerome Baker podcast. That's right. Here at the Dream Factory, 721 South 1st Street in the heart of the Arts District. This is the BakerCast. We'll be back.
I want to see people from all over the world coming to Las Vegas.
He's just sparking up a joint of something that he grew called. This is the Mandarin Skunk. It's a new cultivar that Jerome Baker is going to be dropping. And you had the opportunity to grow the Baker Cakes?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about Baker Cakes.
Baker Cakes, ice cream cake hybrid. It's nice, hard, purple nugs, good cakey smell and taste. I feel like the cakes, a good medicinal high. You know, like more evening smoke, maybe.
Sure. I love the Mandarin. And then I can definitely tell the skunk.
The skunk in this is way back.
Oh shit!
Like it's all the way back in the diesel.
Oh wow! So that's like an original.
Yeah,
that's like an original skunk.
Yeah, like this. The diesel I have was the toast sour diesel.
Okay. Sure.
So you had the NYC, you had the sour, and then you had the East Coast. So the East Coast supposedly was either the second or third back cross the Super Skunk,
right.
And so that was the one that was. That's why it had so much of a skunky, you know, like like mine's always had like just way like it's just more foul, you know.
Yeah, just like wow.
Yeah.
And that's honestly when you open up that bag of sour diesel, it's that skunk that everyone's like, yo, this skunk.
Yeah.
That's where I think that's where that. And there's been a lot of speculation on what are the actual genetics of sour diesel are. Like what in your opinion, from what you know, like what is sour diesel for our listeners? I've always wanted to break that down. It's like a mystery mother plant.
I mean,
and like a skunk plant.
Yeah,
I think that's what
that's what it would seem like.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me just. It's really one of the only strains I've ever had that's like truly psychedelic.
Oh,
you know,
100%.
I mean, like it's a good. You get really twisted on some good sour, and like you lay down and you see pattern. You know, like you close your eyes, and I saw that again when I first started smoking, and then with a sour.
Yeah, totally. And that's where that strain in particular really does something for me. It takes you back.
Yeah, that's what.
Especially for Jason and Jerome Baker on the Deadlock back in the early '90s, that was one of the cultivars that really brought them to the next depth.
For sure, you know, back in the day, you didn't get good weed unless you got it from us.
Absolutely. They're like, yeah. I bet that was a trip because we probably knew each other kind of in similar circles, and to see each other now and to be able to see posters like this that say Jerome Baker Cannabis, Jerome Baker Live Resin. I mean, I've been waiting a long time to see that. Right?
Yeah, no, we talked about it for a lot of years, for sure.
30 years in coming to finally see that in reality is quite a miraculous. Josh, tell us a little bit about the future of where you think cannabis legalization may come out. Do you think that we're going to go full forward with this?
Yeah, I think we are, but we're really going to, I think some of it's going to have to loosen up to really, you know, because the plant actually doesn't like what we're doing right now. The real major problem with the situation is people are just buying a plastic bag full of shit. Right. They don't actually know what they're getting. They're not allowed to smell it or touch it, or you know. And so
that's the problem. Is those plastic Mylar bags? They can't even smell this one. Yeah. They can't feel it. They can't understand it. And so they look at the lights and bleach it after a couple of weeks, and they're like, everyone comes through. Oh, the weed looks like that. I'm not buying that. It's like.
Well, like the old medical model. I mean, did you ever go to any of the old medical dispensaries? I mean, it was like an easy thing, you know. It's like the weed was in a jar. You can give it a little whiff or whatever.
Absolutely. See, when I was in Colorado back in the day, it was like the Wild West. You could walk in there with 15 pounds that you and your homie grew, and they would pay you right there.
No, that's how it was in Cali too.
Cool. That was the best.
Yeah.
That's the best. I mean, like just the fact that we could say that and to be like, yeah, that happened for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I feel like Yeah, we lived through quite a reality of some cool times. To say that we're here telling the story right now in Jerome Baker's Dream Factory is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. And that's kind of why, after a couple far out experiences I had at a glass blowing studio, I saw a degenerate artist, I saw a young Jason Harris with his hair all short. I was like, whoa, wait. He's got to have a podcast. He's got to have a radio show. And I hit him up and he's like, all right, cool. Sounds like a pretty far out story, kid. Meet me at Champ's Trade Show. And never look back.
Yeah, I think it's rad.
And you're putting out cannabis like this. I mean, it speaks for itself. It's going to sell. It's going to more than sell. And then once we get our whole team behind it to really push it, then we can really start to take it up a whole nother notch, I'm really stoked that Jason chose y'all over in Humboldt, California, because there's a lot of growers that wanted to grow Jason's weed, I think, and to have just a part in that from the get-go, from the start, is quite a historic thing, my friend. You're part of cannabis history here at Jerome Baker, here at Las Vegas Dream Factory, 721 South 1st Street, in the heart of the Arts District. That's right. Make sure to come and get the Jerome Baker Cannabis, the live resin. We have a couple different flavors. We have the Soulmate, the Forbidden Fruit, the Blueberry Muffins, the Squirt, the Ice Cream Cake, and Bob's. And not to mention, we have Lisa's Lemons, too. I'm so stoked to have you on the show, John. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, bro.
Dude.
Have a good week.
Thank you. That's right. We'll be back.
This is the BAKERCAST, the official Jerome Baker podcast. JeromeBaker.Shop. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned. Stay baked. Hear our past content at JeromeBaker.Shop. Make sure to check out the new Jerome Baker Cannabis today. This is the BAKERCAST, the official Jerome Baker podcast. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned. Stay baked. Want to hear more of our podcast? Go to JeromeBaker.Shop. And make sure to check out the new Jerome Baker Cannabis today.
Welcome to the BAKERCAST.
Sometimes I feel like I'm channeling energy, and what I produce are the keys to the spaceship.
Just way.
This is the BAKERCAST.
Put on your seatbelts. We got the keys to the spaceship. It's time to go for a ride. Stay tuned. Stay baked.
This is the official Jerome Baker podcast. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned. Stay baked. Hear our past podcast content at JeromeBaker.Shop. Did you try the new Jerome Baker Cannabis yet?
Bob and Cameron and Dan Kay invented the bubbler. That was the first time we saw the water go through the thing,
Right. Stay tuned. Stay baked.
Sometimes I feel like I'm channeling energy, and what I produce are the keys to the spaceship.
Josh Young. That's right. Lions Pride Genetics. Earth Green. Cali Farms, Humboldt County, California. That's right. The cultivators of the new Jerome Baker Cannabis. This is the BAKERCAST. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned. Stay baked. Make sure to hear our past content on JeromeBaker.Shop and try the new Jerome Baker Cannabis today. Meridia Capital Holdings is a private equity firm targeting fundamental growth drivers underpinning the rapid development of the cannabis industry. Our investment emphasis focuses on cultivation technologies, products, and services associated with the evolution of cannabis as an agricultural product, a natural healing-based medicine, and constitute for pharmaceutical formulations and a recreational consumer product. Meridia Capital Holdings seeks to invest in companies that successfully transition from startup to revenue-generating growth companies. We work to accelerate proven operating models, supercharge the growth of their commercial pipeline by identifying essential providers. With strong management teams, we can anticipate where enterprise-level or large industrial providers in non-related cannabis fields will look to find growth. How? In their core businesses through acquisition or investment. This is the BAKERCAST, the official Jerome Baker podcast on JeromeBaker.Shop.